Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you here tonight. First, I will introduce a little bit myself. I've been doing innerdance since 2012. I was living in Asia back at the time, so I came very regularly to Palawan. And it's like what I want to share tonight is in the continuity with what we said last time about how we embody actually what is rising and what is falling and the dance of it with music. So with all this time, I feel also like the stages are embedded and can be played in many different ways. And because I'm also a musician, I will share a little bit about live music. And right now, I'm also a harpist and I'm doing harp therapy. And right now I'm doing a practice in a hospital for elders who have dementia. So it's basically Alzheimer with aggressive behaviors. So I cannot come directly with the innerdance settings, but I come with the instruments. And it will be also how you play with what is relaxing, what is triggering, and how you can balance also a little bit of this with any instruments. So I will demonstrate with the harp, but of course, this can apply to many things. And I wanted to share a little bit about the space, the dimension of space in music, because we have talked a lot about rhythm and transitions. So I think it can be also something complementary. I will demonstrate some things, and I made also a presentation for you. So I will share my screen so that you can also follow. And I'm on the other screen if you want to see my face when I demonstrate, because I have my two screens. So up. Do you see the presentation?
Yes, Antonia.
Okay, great. Because it's not like I do usually. So yeah, rhythm is about how you organize music in time, and space is about the intervals. Mostly, you will have between different frequencies. You can have them together when you play all the sounds together. That will be harmony, or you can have them at different time in time and space. And in this case, it's melody. So basically, if you plug different notes together, it's harmony. And if you put them at different moments and you combine time and space, in this case, this is melody. What I will explain today will be valid for both harmony and melody, but we will not discuss about rhythm that much because this has been already discussed in other practice. The first thing I think is I want to share is about what is sound. So when you have actually a sound, inside one note, you have a multiple of what we will call sub-sound, little sounds inside the sound. It's like the white color is composed of many colors, and it's actually the same for the sound, and it's helping a lot to understand this and to hear it. So I will share with the other microphone. I need to mute.
Antonia, we're not hearing you.
Antonia, I think you are on mute. We cannot hear you now.
I'm here.
Yes.
So what I just shared is actually the order of the intervals you can hear naturally in one sound. Any instruments, when you play the music, your ears or your skin, because the sound is absorbed a lot with the skin, can hear all those notes in the same intervals. This is physics. This is not music. And some instruments will have the opportunity to have more vibration when they vibrate longer so that you can really hear them. For instance, many of you might know Tibetan bowls. They will hear when you have a Tibetan bowls, you can hear the first notes and then the fifth or the octave also. So you have a lot of harmonics that you can hear. So what makes us feel familiar or not also with the sound, it comes a lot with physics and about the different notes which are in the harmony. You have up here, you have all those notes that are written. It goes actually higher. And then you have a drawing on the right, which is what Pythagoras discovered. He was a mathematician, a philosopher, a thinker. He did many, many things and a great musician. And he's the one who discovered those ratios. So inside music, you have sacred geometry based on the organization of sound and all the little sounds that you have in one sound. And this is what creates what we call sound healing, sound massage. It's actually the vibration of all those notes. So based on this, we will do a little bit of practice about how you feel with different intervals. What I want to propose to you today is not going into something complicated in music. It's just intervals. Intervals can be made of 2 notes or 3 notes so that you can feel it. And then when you have understood it with any instrument who has like a few options, even if you are not a musician, you can understand what are the intervals that will create what types of effects and how you can use them with the different, for me, I use them as different stages also, as we have seen the 12 stages. So here you have a piano, and I will demonstrate with the harp, but it's easier also to understand with the piano. What you just heard before was before the first C to the next C is an octave. And then you had C to D, which was a fifth. And then you had others that were more little. This is the first organization of the scale that is useful to understand. And then in between notes, sometimes you have one tone, and sometimes you have what we call a semitone, which is like smaller, half smaller. And because in a scale, sometimes you have one tone and a half tone, and sometimes a half tone is before, and sometimes it is after, it will create different feelings of your body. Because when you have one tone, you don't have the same opening that when you have a semitone. So now I will demonstrate again, and I will propose you perhaps to close your eyes and try to feel in your body when it is opening or when it's going inwards, outwards or inwards, if there's different colors, if there's different sensation. With something that will be very simple, it will be only the scale that I will do, but we will listen to the tones and half tones in the scale. So I need to switch. Did you feel a difference somewhere? We had one tone, and then a half tone, which creates a little bit soft atmosphere. So this is the beginning of the scale. Okay, we will do again with another one. And the one I will demonstrate just now has a very funny history, because it was forbidden for a very long time in classical music. It was called Diabolus in Musica, because now you don't have, you have only one tone interval. So I will do again one tone, half tone. I will stop a little bit, and then I will do what has been called Diabolus in Musica and interest us for the rest. Does anyone wants to share? Did you feel the difference? I'm trying to up. If anyone wants to share something that he had felt, you can open the microphone. Oh. Yes.
Hi, this is Gigi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. The second part, I felt it a bit more disturbing, like dissonant, triggering.
Thank you. So this is a Diabolus in Musica. No? this one was the one that was forbidden for a long time. After it has been played a lot, it's very frequent also in jazz or in other modern musics. But because there's no half tones, it has a feeling of something very empty. And what is interesting also, I think, and for you to understand, is that often in sound healing, we propose to people instruments like this one, which is called sansula, or you can have also this one, which are very easy to play, which is called koshi. They are instruments that are not very expensive. They are in a scale which is called pentatonic scale. It means that it's not a scale with 7 notes, it's a scale of 5 notes. So it's very good to use if you are a beginner as a musician, because they say it's easy to play. You cannot play wrong. And what we call play wrong is to play Diabolus in Musica, or to play a semitone. A semitone will be a very close interval that will create an effect of dissonance. And music is always made of tension, resolution, tension, resolution. In sound healing, usually we will have something which will be very open without the half tones, so that people can play easily. And because we try more to relax people. What I find very interesting is that for innerdance, I feel that we need those semitones that were forbidden, or which you cannot have on the scales. You can play them at the beginning of a session or at the end of the session. You can play rhythm with them. But if you want to add a trigger, it's interesting to have an instrument with a full scale, because even what is called often in music a mistake will be here a trigger, something that will bring a little bit of instability. So this is usually what I would play with, is to play something relaxing, something that we feel comfortable first to start with, and then going a little bit in those triggers with half tones. Okay, So now I will demonstrate a little bit what is a pentatonic scale so that you can hear it. And then right after, I will demonstrate the normal scale, and you can feel the difference between the two of them. One feels very open, sometimes a little bit Eastern, and the other one will have like more colors. So on the second example, the first example was the one with pentatonic scale. So you could have 1 tone and a half sometimes, but you didn't have semitones. And the second one was a normal scale, so that you had all the notes. Did you feel a little bit strange at the end? A little bit triggered? At the end, I played a lot of semitones because in the way you play the scale, I usually play it quite fast, something which will be lighter this way. And this is a mode in ancient Greek. No, we have two modes. We have major and minor modes. People in India, they have like 165 modes. They have a mode for everything. So they have a lot more scales than us. And in ancient Greece, for therapeutic music, you had mostly 8 modes. And some of them are using those semitones, as I just did, for moments of transition. In harp therapy, for instance, in a hospital, I will use it when I feel something has to shift, or also you use it when somebody is going to die, or somebody is passing away, somebody has to get away from the body. This will be the way of playing that will help this person getting into another dimension. So because we have in innerdance this importance of the 0 point and going to another dimension, I find it very easy, very interesting to introduce a little bit this innerdance flavor inside of music, for instance, when we want to have this passage. So I will demonstrate just a little bit this passage, which is a passage with semitones, a lot of semitones. So it will have to be played very softly in this case, because this is a moment of shift. So those are the half tones. For the, you can hear the difference between this and now I will also make you feel two things. The first one is I will play only the intervals we had at the very beginning when I show you what is the sound composed of. A sound is composed of harmonics, so octave, fifths, and in the harmonics you don't have the fourth, but actually the fourth is the opposite of the fifth. It means that a fifth will be C to G, and then G to C is a fourth. So those are the very classical intervals in music. So you can hear and feel, and usually you will feel something that you know, something that it's like the satisfaction stage, stage you're very familiar with. Then I will cut, and I will play you forbidden also intervals usually. That will be the 7th, and the second also, so that you can feel also another way of instability within the harmony. I think you can feel the difference. The second time I played the seventh, so between the C and the B, which is just before the C, and this is usually something that we don't have in classical music. So this will be also like a trigger, but you can play around it to integrate it in something still more melodic, but it will create an imbalance. You can have the feeling that we have changed the scale, but actually on the harp, the scales are put here. So it's like I'm playing only with the white touch of the piano. I didn't change into any other tonality, okay? I think other people have to share, so I don't want to take too long, but I will just show you again with sharing the screen so that you can perhaps play with it if you have instruments at home. This is really something that I will advise you to do, even you don't want to take long courses of music, but if you can find either the little pentatonic scale, which I showed you before, like those little instruments, for instance, it's very easy to start with. You will not have the dissonance, but you can already get familiar with the different intervals and feel them in your body. Or if you have like instruments at home, I will show you the screen also with the intervals that I showed you before to re-explain the tones and the half tones so that you can feel and perhaps remember and experiment. I think innerdance is pretty much about experimenting and also finding a very specific way to express something. So for me, some of the instability that I showed you can be my darkness of the soul, can be also the purgation stage, the moment that you're really about to puke and ready to shift to another dimension. And then coming back to more regular harmony would be also a way to bring more security. And then you have also a major and minor mode, which also plays with the amount of tones, which are more famous about music. So I will not demonstrate today, but that can bring more outreaching feeling or more sadness also feeling or inwards feeling. So just for you to remember or understand what I did, if we go back to the little piano that I had here, up was up. Okay, so you see here, it was mostly between the C and the F, or the C and the G was more regular interval, or between C and C. it had more like a feeling of something pure, because this is already within the sacred geometry of music. And then when I played something out of the usual harmony, it was between the C and the B just before. So this was like the 7th, the last one that I did, or between the E and the F. And if you look at the piano, you will see that between an E and an F, this is the moment that you have the semitone. And between the B and the C, this is the moment you have a semitone also. And between the F and the B is the moment you have only tones and no semitones. So either you have only the semitones or a lot of semitones and then playing around the semitones. Either you have no semitones at all, you would create a different figure feeling. You will create a kind of trigger actually with the people. So actually, with only a little instruments, with only one scale, just by playing those intervals, you can already create this atmosphere. You don't need to have something so complicated. Just with this, you can already create something. And in the music that we record or that we feel instinctively when we're doing our mix, most of the time, what will create impression would be this organization of intervals, tones, semitones, and scales that will create a different atmosphere in the music. Up. I think that will be it. Yeah, and why I think it's useful is, I will stop sharing my screen. It can be very useful for if you want also to come in different institutions, because with the instrument, it's something that is already, people have awareness about the impact of music on the body and playing the music. And also I would recommend to bring as much as you can your own voice or different instruments in sessions, because the sound is mostly absorbed by our skins. And when we have electronic music, we have compressed sound so that it can be played on many different engines, but you don't have the whole range of the natural harmonics. So even you have a bowl, a singing bowls, or a few instruments that have a frequency, you will create this harmony. And then if you have also, for instance, you can have 2 bowls and play with them with intervals, which can be like more in the scales or creating a little bit of a trigger. It's possible to do it also with singing bowls if you have 2 or 3 singing bowls, for instance. So I will stop here because other people will also share about how they bring the innerdance in the practice. But if there's any question, I will be super happy to answer also.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Amazing, beautiful. Yeah, maybe for the ones that came later, just to let you know that tonight we are holding this Zoom call with some global trainers that they are doing some projects around the world, like in the schools, in the jails. That is amazing. That is not only in the dance like we know in the sessions, we are spreading this tool, we can say, no, around more, it's also incorporates like Gigi, this spreading around the world. So amazing. So yeah, Antonia was sharing with the music. I can share maybe a little bit about the project we are doing here in the school in Bakungan near Maya. We are working in a school with teenagers. I think there are like 3,000 kids here. We started building a school. It's like a class. We are doing a math house with eco bricks. Eco bricks is like a Coca-Cola bottle that we put the plastic inside. And when it's full, really full, we can make the walls. So we are inviting the kids to construct their own school there. That is amazing. They are super happy each time we go there because they have a lot of fun and they are super happy to have their own school there. At the time that we are doing this math house, we are also doing with them inner dance sessions sometimes. We are sharing also a lot of science with them. Like the last time we took the EEGs and we were demonstrating the different waves in the brain. Flor was there also with us doing some art. So the amazing thing is that in this school, inner dance is in the curriculum. So it's like part of the curriculum in the school. We are doing something that it called MAPET, is music, art, health, and what else? Yeah. Maybe Flor can share a little bit more. We have some pictures that are amazing with the kids. And she had she has some pictures also the day we did the arts with them. They are super involved in this project. They are super happy because here in Philippines, they are super shy to share. They don't have the opportunity to talk with the family, sorry, with the family about the problems or the things that they cannot talk. They are super open in the sessions. So the sharings after the session are super, super, super deep. They can go in all these blockage that they have inside that they cannot share in their own house with the family. So always when we do the inner dance, they ask, when you come back here, this is so amazing. We feel so much. We feel also the word that they say always is super common. That we are in peace now. We feel a lot of peace inside of us. So yes, it's super amazing to hear how the teenagers, because the age that we are working with is teenagers from 12, I think, until 18, more or less. Some ones are 19. But also the thing is, they are super young, but at the same time, some of them, they have already children, kids, because here they have kids super early. So some of them with 19 or 18, they are already mothers or fathers. So for them, it's a super nice way to be able to share all what they have inside that they are not allowed to share in the society, no, in the open family. So yeah, it's super cool. So maybe Flor has more to talk about this, that she was with here.
Yes, I will be sharing and expanding on that later. I would just suggest that we have the sharing to finish, and then because I can see that there's quite a few of the people that were involved in the school that are here, and it will be nice to have them share as well later. I think we can work on that later, but thank you for introducing it for now. But we can jump into the sharing of Irene, maybe, and Caroline, if you still want to share some more, Christina.
No,
you?
it's okay. No, you can go. Yeah, Irene, if you want.
Yes, I will expand on the Pakungan, on the Palawan thing later.
Thank you, Flor.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Irene, but you can call me Irene. It's fine, but it's Irene. I'm from Colombia. Sorry. And yeah, I want to share with you the project we're doing here. I'm super excited because we're starting July 31st. And it's very significant for me as a Colombian because we are doing a clinical research project around an addiction group. So I want to start by sharing the story because sometimes like maybe for you to also be inspired to look way beyond a session. And even though this happened out of synchronicity, but you never know who you can meet, and the way that can develop into something more. So yeah, the short story is I met this guy, contacted me. He wanted to do a session in a city here in Colombia, and so he is the owner of mental health clinics in Colombia, and they have a very like integral or holistic approach to mental health. They're not only treating patients with regular like medication, but they have all sorts of different types of interventions. So I was really interested by that. And because I knew that, I suggested that we do a kind of a workshop, but also if he would be interested in because the participants were going to be people that worked on his clinic. So they were mostly healthcare professionals, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. So I suggested we do a talk and then the session. And in this talk, I was able to, with the help of Pi, we structured kind of a talk around all the inner dance frameworks, or the main ones that, so kind of like to pick their interest also, that this could be so much more than just an experience, because maybe what I have sensed, there are a lot of people who go looking for experiences, and that is great, but this is so much more than just an experience. So the talk opened that space, and then I wasn't even thinking about doing a research or anything. It came up, and then I just mentioned like, oh yeah, inner dance is being, like there's a lot of research projects around the world, and he got interested in it. So we decided to start working and structuring and designing a research project. And it's been very interesting. He is the owner of the clinics. He is very academic. He is a professor also. He is very scientific. He is very like thorough. And so it's been an interesting kind of blend of this very scienced and structured approach, and a more, I don't know the other word, but like not what I'm used to. So because he has a lot of different mental health patients with different pathologies, I guess is the term, we had to decide for this first pilot on what would be our target audience or population. And we decided to do it around the addiction group because, well, mainly addiction has relevance in Colombia. I'm sure all of you, or maybe when you think about Colombia, unfortunately, one of the things that come up are drugs. And even though it's not only here, but we have had a lot of history with drugs and addiction. And we thought it would be very interesting to kind of do something to turn that around. So addiction in Colombia is not only like substance addiction, but is very related to the social, political, cultural context as well. And it has been related to that since the 20th century. So it's more than just the criminal part. So this is why we decided to work on addiction. And the first reason is because of the relevance of it has with Colombians. The second one is because when you think about addiction, especially with substances and drugs, drugs are doing something that changes the brain, not only short term, but also long term. So it's very interesting for me to study this within the inner dance perspective, as we are also studying the brain as an organ. It changes the brain, but also the mind. So that's why we decided to do it not only around substance addiction, but also behavioral addiction. So we're having this first group. It's about 10 people at the beginning, because we want to like do a pilot and then see how it goes and then expand it. And these 10 people are both dealing with either substance or behavioral addiction. And so what we then decided to do is to kind of create a protocol or a draft for a protocol, because I'm sure it would change along the way. And I want to share it with you. So we decided to do a 3-month research, and we are doing 6 sessions in total. So we're doing 1 session every 2 weeks. So 6 sessions in total. And these sessions are going to be like live workshops. Like people are going to go to the clinic. We're going to create this safe space, and we're doing a live workshop. In addition to those 6 sessions, we thought it would be important to maintain some kind of, because also when you're dealing with addiction, like one of the main things is giving the people the power back to the people, right? So giving them the autonomy and the not depending on a treatment or a medicine or whatever outside of them, but kind of having the opportunity for them to examine their reality and their own experience and the changes that they start to notice along the way. So we also included in the protocol the sleep playlists. So we will be giving them sleep playlists to use in between the sessions. And we are suggesting that they use them for 3 to 4 times a week, the sleep playlists. And then I think this might also be relevant. I'll tell you how it goes. But for the 6 sessions, we are also going to experiment with the different types of inner dance music. So we are going to start the first 2 sessions with the more kind of the more normal inner dance, how it began, to open bodies up a bit, and to have some like more powerful release. So the first 2 sessions are going to be more like the older type of music. Then we're switching on to the transition ones, like maybe the 7 states folders or more playlists that are in the transition, when inner dance started transitioning to the more layered and not so sequential or emotional songs, because we want to be really careful, especially with this addiction group, to not get them in the loop. I do believe there is a time and place for even the sequential music. There is a time and place for that and for emotions to come up. So that's why we're including that. And the last 2 are going to be like the newer versions of probably Pi's playlists. We're using Pi's because yeah, just because the ones that are really well produced, and so we can track something. I don't want to be experimenting myself in this research. So that's what we are doing. And then the way we're measuring it, we're using the phenomenological method, which is we've been studying that as well, which is where people can explore their own reality and their own experience without judging it, doing this bracketing where judgment is suspended, and where people can, it's out of, their reality is their reality. We're not going to intervene in that, and they're going to observe how changes come up. And we're using, for the measurement of this research, we're using a semi-structured interview. So I did a lot of research on how to measure this, and I came up with, in case any of you needs them, but I researched, and with of course, the team also, with a lot of help from people in the team that have experience in clinical research. And we evaluated with this guy the different types of interviews. So we have like a global sleep scale, the Pittsburgh one. We have a really good, I researched this one. I think it's called the BI for anxiety. It's like a globally known instrument. But we decided at the end to create our own interview, because this is very specific for an addiction group. So if we implemented, for example, the anxiety one, it would measure anxiety, but a lot of the times anxiety comes from other things, from other pathologies. So we wanted to measure very specific questions regarding addiction. I can share with you the final questionnaire if any of you are interested. And that's the way we're going to do it. We're also going to have like I think it's important to have a feedback channel where people can share their experiences and ask questions and feel safe to, if something comes up, they're, you know, that there's also like this space holding for them. So we're doing that through a WhatsApp group. And
Irene,
yeah,
ex-
yes.
I think you can share a link of the document here in the chat, and then if we can also share it to the global facilitators to share to all our participants. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank
I
you
can
for
share
that.
since this guy is really academic, he wrote like a whole research proposal. It's very dense, like I couldn't even but it might be interesting for a lot of you. So I'll share the whole thing. And at the end, you can find the questions. We're finalizing them, like choosing the ones, but they should be ready because we're starting the 31st. So I'll share them in the group so that all of you can share it to your groups. And yeah, so we're starting the 31st. I'm very excited for this project. And especially, I feel like the mindset should be experimenting. Like I'm not attached to any outcome, or I'm just happy that we can explore different types of intervention for this in Colombia, and hopefully if everything goes well, we can then move into some other groups. We have a lot to work on here, like sexual abuse, and we also have a group with how do you call that, eating disorders. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I am very excited, and I will share with you as soon as we start the sessions how everything is going. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're going to do a pre-test, then one in the middle, and then one at the end to be able to see the progress. So that's our project here. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll let you know how it goes. Thank you, everyone.
Caroline.
Amazing, Irene. That sounds so exciting. I can't wait to hear about how it goes. I know how much you've put into this already. Hi, everybody. It's so lovely to be here and to meet you all. My name's Caroline, and I'm one of the trainers and facilitators in Scotland. Currently, I am taking innerdance into prisons in Scotland and into local primary schools. So I thought I might just take you on a little bit of a journey so that you can get a sense of what it is to work inside the prison. Currently, I'm working at an all-male prison that has over 700 prisoners, and I am based in the recovery centre. So I am working with a group of prisoners who have addiction issues. Yeah, so I was invited in at February, and I'm in there every 2 weeks for a session. And I'm also going to be visiting a women's prison on Monday to hopefully begin some work there as well. Just eyes open or closed, whatever feels right for your body. I'd just like you to accompany me. It's early on a Tuesday morning, and as soon as I go through the gates into the prison space, there's a shift of energy in my body. My heart starts to beat a bit faster. I can feel I'm adrenalizing. And I walk into reception, and I have to show my passport so that I can prove my identity, and they give me a badge to wear. And there's lockers where you have to place your personal items. They're not allowed phones in the prison. And I'm met by the staff with either a smile or suspicion. You know, I come in, I've got this huge suitcase full of tech equipment, and most people are not allowed to bring electrical equipment into the prison, but they let me. And you have to go through almost like airport security. So my bag has to go through the scanner, my huge suitcase goes through the scanner. I have to reassure the staff every 2 weeks that I have permission to bring in my speakers and my laptop and my iPad. And the prison warden who works with me, she has to press a buzzer for every door to announce who she is. And then she'll unlock the door, wait to be buzzed through, and then we go through. And there are many doors to go outside, to go back inside into other buildings. And my heart starts to beat faster. And I find it strange that I can't open the door for her, that I get in people's way because they're in a hurry to get past me and they're uncertain of me. They can feel I bring a different energy to the space. So we go in through locked doors, I wait, we go in through locked doors, we wait, we go out into the courtyard to go back inside. If there are prisoners that are being escorted from one corridor to another, we have to stop and have our backs against the wall so that we are safe. And then we go up the stairs, there are no windows, up the stairs into the recovery center space. And this is where the guys come to do mindfulness and art therapy. So it has a slightly different feel to it. Again, there's no natural light. These are buzzing overhead lights, and there's an air shaft, and there's some birds that nest there, and you can hear them. It's so beautiful to hear their birdsong in this really artificial space. I've got to push the chairs out of the way and roll the mats out, and there's a prison population crisis happening in Britain at the moment. So there are no blankets available for the guys. So I bring in my own blankets from home, which they love. They love the colors and the texture and something that's of home coming in just for them. And so I set up and they all come in as a group at once, and they're always heightened. There's always a high energy or tension, a lot of tension in their bodies. They feel the difference when they walk into the space, and they get their cup of tea, they come and sit on their mats. And some of the guys, they're all doing time, that's the expression in the UK, they're doing time. And some of the guys are doing hard time. They're there for 20 years, 30 years. And I'm always in such admiration of their courage to show up. There's a core group, I work with 15 guys, but lately there's been a change. They're being released early, some of them, because of the overpopulation. And so I'm not quite sure he's going to be there. So sometimes I get the repeaters to describe to the group, what is inner dance? Or how do you describe it to each other? And it's so breathtaking to hear their responses. One guy said, I realize I don't have to wait to die. I don't have to wait for death to die. It was just so beautifully put. And it helps to establish trust. You know, I'm in a space where nobody's safe. Really, they can't really trust each other. And I'm hoping that they can learn to trust me through my consistency and transparency and respect for them. But so we'll have a conversation and I might speak into the themes of a soundscape and some of the frequencies, the stories that might be embedded within them. And then they lie down for an hour and they journey. And they consent to receiving touch. And so I support them through the hands and the head and the feet. And I'm again so struck by the paradox of trust and distrust and the vibration of shame and guilt and self-doubt that is amplified in this space. And I have to remember to feel into that without taking it personally. It can sometimes awaken my own personal resonance with fear and doubt and distrust and shame. But there is something so moving about seeing them for who they are. I'm sure you see this in your sessions as well, but when the energy shifts and a softening takes place, I can really see them, these gentle giants, these very sad, lonely men, vulnerable and willing to self-heal. And yeah, the wardens who are present in this locked room of ours are also deeply moved. They get to bear witness to the prisoners in ways that are beyond the ordinary experience, beyond what they normally see and hear. And after the hour, we have time to integrate through. There's time for snacks and some more tea, and some choose to draw. But they share their experiences and they put a number out of 10 to how they're feeling. Yeah. And so I gather and I make notes of the phenomena that they're sharing with me. I'm waiting to get permission for photographs to be taken with the prison camera. I'm waiting for permission to perhaps audio record some of the feedback. I'd really like to gather up in a structured way some of the information that's being gathered. But last week when I was there, the guys, we'd really tapped into a vibration of creativity, and they were really wanting to help innerdance, and they're asking whether I can be a guest on the prison radio and whether I can hold space on the airwaves and be with a soundscape. And they've also asked if we can create some CDs. You know, they're not allowed any sort of tech in their cells except CD players, and we're going to find out from the governors if they can have some innerdance CDs. So I've got a friend who's going to be transferring MP3 onto discs, and hopefully they'll be able to take those and take care of themselves when they're having trouble sleeping or when they're having a really bad day. And I just love the fact that they're linking that themselves, that actually these soundscapes can really help me beyond the session with Caroline. You know, it's that they're recognizing this is something that's theirs. Yeah. It's such paradoxical work. you know. And it's really funny. One of the guys who's been at every session shared on Tuesday past that he's been put up for early release. And at the same moment, I'm absolutely delighted for him. I'm also really sad. I'm never going to see him again. He's never going to be in that space again. And I was so struck by that I don't want him to be in the prison, but at the same time, I really want him to be there. And how I had made an assumption at the beginning that there would actually be more constancy with the groups, but actually, depending on what's happening politically, depending on what's happening with their behavior in between sessions, it's just this ever-changing sea of information. Yeah. And I'm very protective of them. My soundscapes are notoriously dark. I must have been a goth when I was a teenager. That's what's coming through. And I bring war, I bring death, I bring the hard stuff, I bring reality to them. But I've modified some of my soundscapes. I work with a lot of women and I work with trauma, and so I've been purposely removing songs that speak to sexual violence and abuse, because I don't know these guys' stories, and I don't know why they're in prison. And I really want to ensure that I can evoke a space where reflection can take place, but free from shame. And I don't know if that's wrong of me to do that. I just want them to know that they're really safe with me. You know, and it's really fascinating. You know, we're all just, what am I trying to say? There was one soundscape, and I call it Womb Baboom. And it's a watery womb based one. And one of the guys, he couldn't bear it because there was a baby crying, but there wasn't a baby crying in the soundscape. And I'm struck by what their bodies are hearing, what they are receiving. And so I realized that I want to be actually quite careful, more careful in the sounds that I'm taking into that space. So the next time I went in, I'd adjusted a soundscape to remove because I knew there was going to be babies crying, to make them laugh, to have laughing babies instead. And yeah. So I really thank you for your attention. I'm very open to questions. It's really important for me to be a reflective practitioner, and working solo. And I do have supervision, but working solo, you know, it's important that I'm able to have conversations where I'm questioning my work, questioning what's happening in this space, staying conscious to it. I hadn't realized the impact that being in the prisons was having upon me. And so just becoming more response able, taking better care of myself. Yeah. So these conversations really help that process. I have a couple of photographs just of some of, if you, but there was one guy who came once, and he was like a rocket. He was just bouncing. He wasn't able to sit down. He is ADHD, and yeah, so kinesthetic, can't not move. And he didn't feel that he would be able to lie down, and yet he wanted to be in the space. And so he just started drawing moving around the space to get more pens and crayons, tiptoeing around people. He was actually really thoughtful when he was sort of navigating the space with all these guys lying down. But afterwards, when he showed us, let me see if I can screen share. When I went over and where is it? Asked to look at his picture that he drew. So this particular soundscape, we were working with war and amongst many other things. And if you look closely, so there was he was digging a grave, and there was an X that marks the spot under the tree, but there was also Jesus on the cross being beamed up by a UFO. And he signed it Leonardo de Berry. I thought that was so funny. But I just love that, I have no doubt that whoever's in the space at the same time is part of the inner dance, and that the inner dance vibrations are permeating and rippling throughout the whole of the prison. But I just love the fact that this guy was just creating this work of art, and he was just as much a part of it as the guys who were on the cross, on the ground. So that was I found that just delightful. Yeah. I'm curious if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Caroline. It's so nice, so beautiful to hear you talking about this. And yeah, you can transport us to that moment that you are in the jail with these people. It's so touching. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I just
Hi.
wanted to reiterate that. Super proud of you, Caroline. That is amazing.
Thank
So
you.
proud of you. Please make sure you're doing some clearing on yourself because that is such a tough space to work in.
Yeah.
I know you're amazing, but just making sure you're clearing that energy when you leave, because it impacts us. Just by you talking to us, it's impacted all of us. And you're actually entering that space every week, just so you don't get burnout, because you're amazing.
Thank you, lovely. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
when I leave, it's with a really light heart. I am practically so elevated, and then I cross the road, and then gravity hits, that dense reality of I'm leaving those guys behind. It's really easy for me to, but they're there, and they're welcoming of me every time. But yeah, it's a compressive space, There's something very revolutionary about this energy wanting to be there and being welcomed in there, whilst at the same time there are walls and locked doors and rules and oppression amplified deliberately to try and keep whatever's happening very small. And yeah, it's interesting work, and I'm very excited to hopefully take it to the new women's prison so that I can really that's my main specialism, is trauma and working with women. But there's something about the synchronicities, but the energy is guiding this completely. And I've had very little red tape. The doors have opened very easily. In fact, they opened, I didn't knock, they opened for me. But I'm really interested about going on the radio and with them, and also creating CDs. I'd never considered that, having actually physical copies, and I think I'm going to create them anyway so that I have hard copies to be able to give to the other prisoners that I will work with in the future. So just maybe something to consider for yourselves about maybe creating hard copies and the spaces that you would like to support the energy to flow into. Yeah, there's a wellbeing week coming up in September, which I've been invited to. So I'm going to hold space for a much larger inner dance in one of the halls. and have a report ready and hopefully be able to talk to some of the other staff, some of the other organizations that might come to support that. Yeah.
I think Val is raising her
Yeah.
hand.
Val, hello.
Hi, greetings, everyone. Caroline, oh Lord, what a way do you have to communicate? I actually, besides innerdance, I teach people how to speak. I've yet to feel a message as profound as yours. Like, I don't even think I can say what I want to say without crying. And I just want to tell you that these people are not, you're not leaving them behind. Your energy has the capacity to perforate in a beautiful way the essence of love and heart. It's an honor to hear your work and to be in a group of human beings that are just as, I know everyone is as mesmerized as I am. And you've just taken even my work as inner dance and the other part of me, which is the speaker, the international speaker, the one who shares stories and helps people tell stories. You have blessed me in so many levels with your story. It's something that I've been wanting to actually get into as well. So I just want to commend you, and please know that these people still have you inside, just like all of us will and are. Thank you for honoring us with your grace, your time, and your heart. Greetings to all of you from Mexico at this time and space and moment.
Thank you, Val. Thank you. My heart opened with the gift you give me here of how the guys come with me, that there is freedom after the soundscape ends. I hadn't acknowledged that they're here in the energy field anytime I open into conversations about our sacred work together. And I really appreciate you reminding me of that. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Caroline, for yeah, it's a blessing to hear Caroline when she speaks. She shoots an arrow to your heart, even if even if some of her music are really dark, like takes you to the dark spaces in a very, very safe pair of hands. So yeah, thank you so much. It's very interesting. By the way, my name is Flor. For those who have not met me before, I'm a resident of Maya from 2015. No, not 2015. Yeah, around 2016. I stepped into the land of Maya in 2015, and that has changed my path dramatically. I have been sharing art and voice activations way before that. And when I got into the world of inner dance in 2013, I don't remember. It has become everything that I do felt complete, because everything that I realized I can share and I have to share and I feel called to share are those that feel true to my body, those that I have physically experienced, and those that I have received directly from the source. So a lot of the things that I got to learn from other teachers, I tend to drop them if if I have not experienced that in the truest truth of my body and the mechanisms of my mind and of my heart. So when inner dance came, I jumped into a life of being there in the land and choosing to start living a life that is beyond the workshops. It's a very interesting topic, what we're talking about right now and what all of us are sharing. How, by the way, from Antonia, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge earlier. And Irene, we're so excited for your project. And of course, beautiful sharing of Caroline. How do we share inner dance beyond the workshops? How do we become the inner dance itself when we enter a room, when we enter a space, when we open our mouth, when we touch a person? How can we share this work without making people lay down? This is basically a lot of what we're talking about is about that. Having experienced my really deep first inner dance through with Bai, through mapping my journey at that time when I was first with him, I understood right away that the journey that we're doing, laying down, is very powerful. It is the core work, but there are so many ways that we can become that energy itself that we're sharing. When I have anchored the name of my main offering before, called Creative Alchemy, which focuses a lot on opening creatively, voice-wise, painting-wise, movement-wise, and having merged it with inner dance, that has become my complete repertoire, as Pai would call the word, that wherever I go, whether I share art, there is inner dance. Whether I share inner dance, there is voice activation. Whether I share a shamanic dance or whatever, there is an inner dance happening. You become the medicine. You become the institution of all of these offerings that we're sharing, and it's a gift to be able to share this work, to meet the people that are doing this work, to be inspired by everyone else. Because seriously, this work that we do with the institutions, yeah, or inner dance itself, we can share it as a form of our offering for workshops, as part of our business, or as part of our passion, or as part of our dedication for being one with all. So a combination of all would be really ideal. But seriously, these things to the institutions does not happen to and through everyone. There is a call. There is a sensation that you would feel. There is a curiosity. There is the inspiration that we will feel from others. There is a space and a state of observation. Like, could that work for me? Could there be a tickle in my heart that I can do that? Or no, I don't think I can ever go there. Or I'm very happy with what I'm doing. I'm giving workshop. I'm being able to assist people in their journey so that they can spread out to work. This is amazing. Some people would have the interest and the passion, but most importantly, the commitment. So this is something that we can feel and sense in our heart. And if it's not there, it's going to be a force, like you're pushing yourself, and there might not be this sense of purity in sharing this work. being able to live in Maya and being able to work hand in hand with Pai for years, I knew and I realized over the years that this is a commitment to that remembrance, that true remembrance that we are one with all, that these children are the ones that are carrying forth whatever teachings we'll be able to share and impart, that the changes, the transformations that we might be able to share in the prison, through the prison, might collectively create a ripple of love. And whatever happens in all the sharings that we do is a part of doing it for each other as one. There is somehow this embodiment of, I remember that we are one, for us to be able to really anchor these kinds of work. We cannot just do this because it looks cool. It's gonna be so difficult because it requires a heart that hears the voice of the collective through us and through this work, and the understanding of how powerful it is that we do, and the responsibility, and the responsibility, as Carolyn said, to being able to share this. I realize that deepening into this work and combining it with all the other works that I do, and this is an invitation to others, really know who you are. When you know who you are, you know your medicine, you know your inner knowledge, inner wisdom, inner technologies that are built in with you, and being able to merge and marry it forth with this work is so powerful. And I knew for myself that I'm an artist. I had passion for guiding people to open up their creative portals, whether it's the voice, whether it's everything is art, everything is creativity, whether it's their expression through movements. And this is something that automatically happens when I do inner dance sessions. So an inner dance immersion, for example, through floor could be actually a voice activation for everyone. And it's a very warming feeling when there is no intention of, okay, it's going to be a voice activation workshop. It just happens because it's there. So you're just aware, just putting the intention there, or just the mere presence of who you are, we are able to really merge this work to anything. So when we share this work to schools or to prison, there is this very strong urge and tool. So I was saying earlier that these works require curiosity, inspiration, the interest, the commitment, but it also needs tools. So we also need to know how to actually deliver this work to them, whether they lay down or not. Because when we are able to bring this work forth, even without making them lay down, means we know how to actually work this energy. We know how to take their brain waves into a journey. We know how to incorporate the 12 stages into our conversational skills with them, that perhaps we don't really need music anymore, that just by the mere presence of how you enter and how you leave the room and how you are in the middle of perhaps a 1-hour conversation with them, we are able to bring them into an inner dance state. And that's presence. And you felt that with Caroline when she was talking. So we can only imagine those guys in the prison. So I would like to share something that happens in Bakungan. Christina has introduced that to us earlier. I would like to share some photos. And I know that some of the women are here that were with us in the schools. So I would love you to share a little bit later for everyone to hear your actual experience. Actually, maybe I will start with the prison. Oh no, I cannot actually share. I didn't get the approval to share the photos in the prison. But to add up to the sharing of Caroline, I was able to go to the prison in Manila, and it was during a Christmas party with them. Just like her story, it took us a long time to get in. You can't bring any gadgets with you. You have to deposit everything. They have to search you. And you pass through this many people. In Philippines, they're wearing yellow. So these many guys wearing yellow, and every single pair of eyes carries a story and carries a question. First is like, who are you and what are you doing here? And the team, it's called Laya program. Laya means freedom. Our team in Manila that carry this work to the Manila prison, they've been doing it for like 2 years. And I was lucky enough to be in the same schedule with one of their meetings during the Christmas season. And they were not doing inner dance to the people, to the guys in the prison, because our friend is not really a trained inner dance facilitator, so she's not so confident to bring it to bring the work. But when I was there, I taken them into a voice journey and an inner dance journey, and they were laying down, and for the first time they were not doing it, but I was not scared to touch them. I guess it is my age that I feel like I have a presence of maturity, that I don't feel that because the girl that's the girl that's doing this work, this program for 2 years, she's quite pretty and she's quite young. So I think there's something about, like my age and my maturity, that I felt confident and very comfortable to touch them on their skin directly. And it was the first inner dance journey that I was able to speak in very, very deep Filipino language, that I myself was having a very deep journey. When you are in front or in the circle of people who either have just received their sentence and they know they're never going to be going out anymore, and those that felt they're not guilty of anything, but they have been there and they have not seen their loved ones for a long time, and those that have felt they have just failed life and life has just failed them. And these intense energies can just reverberate in your body and feel like, oh my God, the amount of stories, the amount of energy in that room was something I have never felt in any explosive inner dance sessions I have ever held. Because they are either facing death already, or they already feel dead because they're not able to go out of the society. And that's the truth. They have no time to think of, what am I going to wear tomorrow? Or what am I going to cook next week? Or how am I going to pay my car? Or, like there's this very narrow yet very, very wide reality. I'm going to show you some of the photos. And then share the screen. Let's see this. Yeah, I didn't get the permission to share their photos, so I'm not going to share them. So these are works of some, we took them into an inner dance journey and then to art right after. And they're amazing artists, but you can see what's happening in their brain. But some have this. And this. I really like this one. And this. Yeah. And that's for the prison. It's there's so much to share. There's so much to experience with this work, way beyond the workshops that we know or understood. Some of the sharings of the people there was one that I really remember, or there's a few. There's one in particular. He said that I can appreciate life here more because everything is so simple and everything is so clear. And the way he said it, it's like he realized it's a gift to be there in the prison. And for some, it will be very difficult to grasp it, you know. Anyway, just to jump to the other topics, but yeah, and to close this one, I focused a lot in that journey of taking them into the process of forgiving themselves more than anything, and to allow themselves to see the light within in very, very deep Filipino language, which I've never spoken in a long, long time. So it's yeah, so that's one for the prison, and I would like to share now something for the school. So the school in Maya, oops. Am I on sharing? I'm not on sharing it. Share. Let's close this one. There are different ways that we were sharing inner dance in the school. And this was one of the time that I just arrived back from Dubai, and we've taken the kids into a voice session as well. At the same time, took them into an inner dance talk, an inner dance workshop or a journey, talking about day and night, night and day, all the opposites, all the co-activations of things, but in a very, 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 very active way. So these children in the place called Pakungan High School experience a lot of things with inner dance. Oops, sorry, I am not supposed to share that. Let's start first. Sorry. Oops. What are they doing? They are actually doing soil. They're doing the mixture of rice hay and soil to create these walls. This is what Christina was talking about earlier. And these are all recycled bottles. We're going to ask our training participants to share this. Oh, that doesn't. Okay, let's close this once. Let's watch this one.
There is only one Natalia. No, here is another one. One Natalia like me, right? And there is only one Natalia like me, so we all are unique. And we have to focus in the strengths, in the good things we have. And there is only one.
Just one more, and then there's one that I wanted to share. Yeah. Yeah. The last video was the girl was talking in Filipino, and what she was, I had to translate for the ladies. Some of the ladies are here, Val, Gigi. And she was talking about her problem and trauma in the school. And right after that sharing, when we left or when we were leaving the room, they one by one came to her and said sorry. And there was a lot of healing that happened. It was very, very touching for us to witness that. We have Val here and Gigi. You can actually add to that experience for others to hear. And if anybody has any questions as well to me or about this, also welcome. And after perhaps Val, we will have Nuveen, who would share something from Oman. Yeah, so thank you. Val?
Thank you so much for the space and bringing back these memories. For me, it was the moment, to be honest, that I've been waiting for my entire life, because my advocacy is children and teachers and education. That's my why. And to have the opportunity, the first time I was at my, it got canceled due to the heat. And then the second one, something happened, and it was until my third intensive training that I was able to go. And I was so excited to have this opportunity with absolutely no expectations of what would happen, and to do it. Yes, we did it in English. However, most of these children speak Filipino, and thank God for Flora that she could translate. But in a lot of the parts, you didn't even have to have the translation. It's so good to see you, by the way, Flora. Yeah, it's just so beautiful to connect again, even in this space, and to be able to see what the energy does with children that are trusting you without, knowing nothing about you, not knowing what is going to happen, giving up their time of whatever was scheduled to trust us. What we usually did, well, at least with the time that I was there, we spoke about a topic. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh yeah, we did a presentation about feelings and what it was to feel and what were those feelings and what happened when you obstruct those feelings. And then we went on with an inner dance session that was previously prepared. We divided by groups. So my group was the boys. Flor showed the girls, and it was really interesting also when we came back to Maya to be able to hear the both perspectives of how different the experience was for the boys and the girls, but yet it was also meaningful and so deep to hear in a session of not even 30 minutes, because since we did a presentation before on a topic, that how we can actually deconstruct the point of view that I've lived it all in Maya, with music, with no music, 1 hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, in the right setting, in the setting with hot, it's, for me, it opened my mind and my heart in such a way that it's important to prepare this space. However, also the space will unfold regardless of the right circumstances. There's a lot of lack still at this school, but yet there's a lot of love and expansion. And for me, it truly was life-changing, and I honor every single moment that I was there with my peers. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this experience. And if anybody has questions, you can WhatsApp me or text me, and I'll be happy to share. Beautiful experience. Thank you, Flor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is anyone else here that was in the school with us? Would be very happy to hear your experience there and share to the people. Gigi, do you want to share?
Yeah, I can share. My connection is a bit unstable, but I hope you'll get this message. So going to school was a first for me ever. Being able to adapt the language to teenagers, especially when this is not their language, and make the message as simple as possible. And I remember that this day we were very prepared, but it didn't turn exactly how we planned it, because half of the team was sick. So we had to change totally the roles and presentation, and it was just perfect at the end the way it was. I remember that it was a lot of emotion. We were like all very, very emotionally involved. I remember crying with those young adults as you were sharing. As you were sharing, Flor, those kids have lives of and preoccupation of adults, and it was really a shift for, I guess, for us, to be how do you say, to testimony this reality there that is very different from ours, and it really touched profoundly our team, myself. And I remember that this is actually how I felt I had a mission. I could do a difference with those kids, and really gave me this energy, you know, to keep the work, feel that what we do is important and needs to be shared in the wider world. And when I came back home, it was the first thing that I was looking for, making little workshops with kids. And I've done two workshops with younger kids. And yeah, I'm really excited for the next step in September, approaching schools. And yeah, it really, this experience really opened the possibilities for me to have a bigger impact outside of the normal workshops that we do in yoga places or normal workshops. So yeah, Maya, it was the last day of my training, and for me it was actually the best day because it really made sense for me on, you know, what impact I wanted to do with this embodiment of inner dance. Eso.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to invite Niveen to share. Niveen is one. I'm, by the way, the space holder for Middle East. And Niveen is one of our participants from Oman. And I'm so excited to share with you her so she can share her work.
Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Niveen. And yeah, apparently I'm living in Oman, in Muscat, Sultanate of Oman. So in the meantime, I'm doing research in the school. So it wasn't an easy thing being in Gulf and working. It's such a religious place, right? I have to be sensitive. But I work as a primary teacher in a primary school with international students that help me to access. Now, as an educator, I have believed so many times that the children are curious, but there is something are distracting them, right? And there is something distracting them from learning, whether it's an emotional thing or whether it is something personal. And so I have decided when I have attended the inner dance and I have talked to Flor of how we can access the school. So she gave me like hints and tips of what we can do and to explore more in the schools. So I have talked to the school at our place, and then we have started with the year 6. As a primary school, is the last year is the year 6, where they need to transfer to senior schools. Okay, so we have decided to start with the year of age 12 and 13 to set them right to the next level and to know exactly how we can help them in this journey. I will share with you how did we do it, and where we are now, and what's the feedback and what's the next step. I'll try to make it short because it's the end of the session. So let me start of what's happening. So as can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Okay, perfect. So as you know that I am working as with the Middle East group, that means as well we're working with the Dubai people and Oman. We have one facilitator in Oman as well. So collectively, we have decided to call the space Dream Sound Space, because being in the Gulf, it's very, if it's very scary for them to hear just the inner dance word. Okay, so they will, because I'm dealing with a lot of multicultural people, and that I should be sensitive. So that's why I have posted in a group what is the possibility of giving the space name, and collectively we have decided to name a dream sound space, because this is where we allow the children to dream, and this is where we allow to have them their own space. So to start with it, how did we do it, or how did we implement it in our school? So first of all, it was a longer procedure. It took me around like 5 months to get all the papers done work, because I work in a school which is direct with the petroleum development of Oman, which is a very sensitive thing that I need to a lot of looking about the HSE, about the possibility of the well-being, about you. So I have to deal with the HR and the management. And luckily, it was all get it done. We discussed the project with the teachers as well of how they can support me because it's going to be during their lunch break. A lot of Google Forms were sent to the parents to take their consent too. And we obtained consent to share the photos as well with the energy school, with the innerdance school. So that was a plus for us. To start with, so they helped me, the sessions as overview, as you can see, this is my space. We've put blinders in there, and this is a short space, so next year is going to be bigger. We've started with the 12 children as a beginning of tasting 4 sessions, and I've started to do it on a sleeping playlist. The sessions were during like just 30 minutes during their lunch break, and the room was set up exactly just for the innerdance to make sure that this is their own space, to feel that they are doing something different. Now we started with the 4 sessions as we said. As you can see, children are there, okay, laying down. They are sharing experiences. A lot of the children show different emotions, you know, being in there. Other children, they have reacted to the music. Other children, they just felt overwhelmed. I haven't worked with the children before. However, it made me just feel like those emotions are really sometimes distracting their learning. They are holding something inside. They are thinking of things and thoughts that it's holding the learning back. Getting into the next session. So every week we used to start sessions. Okay, I've decided to do something called as well a neurodoodle, where they sleep and then they just draw the things that they have seen. Okay, or draw their emotions after the work or what they have enjoyed in the session. And then, as you can see, they've started sharing it during their neurodoodles. I've asked them to talk to their partners and tell them what they are feeling or what they are drawing or what they are seeing. At the end of each session, we do a closing to the session where we get connected, and then we make sure that we are all in safe space, and we are all as oneness together, like all together, and then make sure that this space is just confidential for us. So to set them free, that it's okay, whatever they have spoken there, it's okay for them in that space. Session 3, we have decided to do the whale song in there. So in the whale song, I have discovered a lot of kids got emotional. As you can see in the one of the pictures, one of the children was really like suffering emotionally. She cried a lot, and the other child just tried to comfort her. So each session honestly brought a different aspect into the space. And at the last sessions, I have seen as well some of the kids speaking out. Okay, speaking out their emotions, as somebody of you discussed at the beginning. They started to say about their emotions, about what's happening in their houses, about what's happening in the school, what makes them like distracted from learning. We've started to do a couple of gentle touches as well from one child to another, just to let them feel that they are comfort and they are working as together. During those sessions, I've collected some of the feedback from parents, which was positively well, and some parents expressed interest of what's happening in that space because their children are going home and telling them how they felt and how they are happy in the area. Year 6 teachers as well, they wanted to extend that program, and they have asked whether we're going to implement it. Pictures were shared with the management, with the higher management, which led to have a next step into the next academic year, which we're going to implement like every Tuesday, a 6-week periodic program with the year 6 as a structured program. There is another facilitator in Oman. Her name is Ilira as well. She's going to come to that session, and we're going to research together of how we can move the things forward in the school itself. So, and another thing that I have got in that space, that children started to talk about their emotions, but how to close their emotions, how to help them. I have spoken to the management, and management decided to bring a counselor into the school to help those kids that they felt really, really emotional, and to help those kids that they felt that they are not okay. So we need to let them feel supportive. So a counselor will be coming, okay, after the sessions, just to see how she can support those kids. Dubai community as well, they will be popping in and out during the session to do the research in Oman. To end it up, it's going to be the first school that it's implementing innerdance in the Gulf and the Middle East, and that will give us a lot of opportunities to expand of how we can bring it into the curriculum. As I said, a first step, it was very hard for me because it's like I needed to tell them it has nothing to do with a spiritual thing. It has nothing to do with, with the religious thing. It is something more to do with the connection of the children, of to look into their inner peace of what's happening inside them, and to speak out. It's okay to speak out, to let them feel, as Flor said, that it's okay to speak out. It's okay to feel. It's okay, to just expand. And yeah, so starting with these sessions, 4 sessions, opened eyes to all of us as a school community, from the management. They've seen kids really crying. They've seen seen children suffering from personal aspects. So for that, we said that the program will expand, and the program will stay for the next academic year, and we'll be doing research of what's happening. And of course, I'm going to update you as well what's going on for the next year, which is going to start in August. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, if anyone has any questions on that, yeah, just please raise your hand. I just want to go back a little bit to what we're doing in this. By the way, for Niveen's project, it took, as she said, it took her 5 months. She had to get a lot of permissions for her to be able to share those photos with you right now. Because in Middle East, it's not really very easy to take photos of people. Like me as a Middle East facilitator, I always have to ask, even if they're adults, I have to ask if photos are okay, if we could take, can capture. So Gigi?
Yes, I have a question. I think Nirvine said that she was a teacher in that school, right?
I'm a teacher still. I am a teacher in the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you have another facilitator that is going to help you next year.
Yeah, she's coming to help me every Tuesday. So she's outside. She is not a teacher, but she has an extensive experience in innerdance. So we're going both together to observe and do the research more, and it just make me maybe write the data or something to start with, because as a first school in here, we need to, make sure that we are starting right.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Yeah, so it's really so exciting. There is this great invitation for us to be really very creative on this, how we can approach any of these institutions. Also, to be ready of the conditions or situations like, are we happy to commit to it if it's an offering for free, or if they're going to be able to have an exchange with you, or something that's all like really very different situation for everyone, and according to different facilitators that I hear their experiences of right now. So the invitation for us to be creative in how to approach the institutions and how to share this work really relies on us. So this is an amazing sharing today. I think Caroline still has something to share about the school. And then we can open to more sharings and questions from others.
Yeah. Thanks, Flora. Thanks, Naveen. That's just so lovely to hear, and actually quite in parallel to the work that I'm doing in schools as well. I won't go into too much detail. It's not dissimilar to what you said, but I maybe just share some of the photographs. But I've gone into a primary school working with children aged 6 or 7 years old. It's a special class where the children aren't able to be in the more general classes due to their ADHD, neurodiversity, their trauma. So they have a very small classroom. But my project's called it's Dream School, but the Sound of Dreams, and I'll just share some photographs and you can just get the idea. But so I've had 2 blocks of 6 sessions, and then I'm going in for another 8 where we're going to look at working through the chakra system and the rainbow inside of their bodies. Just the children that I'm working with need this to be super duper simple language, but essentially they've begun to spontaneously facilitate with each other. And so they're now learning how to hold space, and they're facilitating their teachers. And it's really fascinating. So we're actually going into, in really simple terms, the basic constructs and principles of inner dance. And then they're lying down for each other and holding space. But what has become acutely clear is that the children that I'm working with, they're all fighting sleep. They come in hyper activated, hyper vigilant. They present as agitated, they fidget, they can't sit still, they struggle to absorb information. And within a few minutes of me speaking and the soundscapes that they're listening to, they're going into deep rest and deep sleep, or almost meditative trance-like states. There's one little boy, he's known as the most violent boy in the school. He's such a wee darling. And he fell asleep. And during the session, he was receiving touch from the teacher at his head, and you could see that his head was leaning into her hand, that he was there in that waking dream state. And then when she herself lay down to a journey, then he went deep into something, deep rest. And they're all learning how to rest again. And it's really profound to watch. So it's really exciting to hear that something similar is happening in other schools around the world, and it's inspiring how these doors are opening. Yeah, I just want to share that I guess I'm having the contrast of prison at the beginning of the primary school, which is a Roman Catholic school, at the end of the week, and there's no obstacles so far. Yeah. It's just really, I just love going into this space and having to rip up my plans and just to go with the flow. And as Fleur so eloquently described earlier, how to bring about inner dance beyond the habitual context of soundscapes and maybe lying down, but bringing in art and using words to hold that space and to see what unfolds, and to see the shifting of relationships between the children and their teachers. You know, there's something profoundly changing between them when the children are tenderly holding space for the adults, taking care of them, and the adults receiving that, the exchange, which isn't usually present in their everyday. There's a softening and heart opening. Yeah. And I just want to share that because I just love that work as well. Thank you.
It's just so nice to listen to Caroline all the time. um, Irene is asked if I would share about birth. I think I can share a little bit about birth, and I don't have so many experiences of sharing it to birth, but I have been sharing inner dance to mamas who will be birthing. So inner dance at the same time together with the voice activation, because, or I would say voice expansion or whatever the voice wants to do in the body, because it's like making the body ready for this phenomenal experience of being the portal of a human being walking on this earth. And my experience with taking inner dance into a birth space is really very, very profound. And also my experiences were very different. One was super short. The woman is an amazing inner dance body, inner dance facilitator, and just an inner dance being herself. She knows her body very well. She knows the energy very well. And I was actually with Pai when we're doing this birth, and I was singing, and the midwife was so confused because we were just singing, me and Pai, just doing our hands. And the mama was also, like she knows that, okay, my water is going to break now, or, like she knows her body. She knows the music that's happening within her. It was also her third inner dance, supported birth. And the midwife was very confused and just looking at us, and she just has her phone and take a video of us. It's almost like she's thinking, what am I going to report to the hospital? Because she has to say something to the hospital and report what happened. But we were just singing, and I can't find the video right now, so I cannot share it. And when she felt that, okay, my water is breaking now, then we went to the pool, and it was quite fast, but it was very healing for me, because when the baby came out, she had 3 to 4 layers of cord. And I was a blue baby. I was like that. She was so blue, purple almost. And because we were surprised she went out, actually, I was literally behind her, like in front of her ass when the baby came out. So it went out in front of my face. And the first thing I did was to sing and copy the sound of the organs, like just so as inner dance facilitators, how we use our voice is very important, because whether we have instruments or not, whether we have music or not, when we know how to take people into a journey through our voice is very, very profound. So what I did, and I encourage people, or you, if you're in a birth, to carry the baby outside of the womb with still the sound of the womb, or like the heartbeat, orgasm, like all the natural sounds. And it's not like in the hospital where in bright lights and give me the scissors, cut this, clean this, like it's very traumatic for the babies. And we start our life, majority of us have started our life like that. And bringing the wisdom to the birth space creates a good entry point for that human being that is about to walk the earth and be able to have the cord not cut right away, like all of those stuff. So it was, going back to the story, it was so healing for me, because when she was so purple, the baby was so purple, we were so shocked because it was so fast. Like we did not see right away that the cords were here. And then one of us said, okay, the cord is tied up on the neck. So the mama herself removed it. And in just a span of few seconds, she went pink right away with the body on the chest and with all of us relaxed and the mama relaxed and the cord just out. It was for me like healing my trauma from my birth, that I was considered dead, you know, because I couldn't breathe. So I'm sharing this because when we do this work, we're not really giving people something. We are always receiving something. We are always part of the journey. We are always part of the music. Our body is always part of the body that we are helping to facilitate. So yeah, it was so interesting because I just had malaria that time. So I was very, very physically weak. And when I had the bowl where the placenta was put, my body's intelligence was telling me, drink that blood. It was so crazy. But I have never, I have never imagined that I would think that. Of course, I did not drink the blood, but there was this very strong body push and intelligence that's saying that, because the placenta of the mama is very, very profoundly nutritious. And of course, everything that's happening in that cord, that's where all it's very important for whatever is still there on the cord to still keep going to be transferred to the baby. That's why it's important to not cut the cord right away. It's one of those basic things that you would learn if you want to go deep into the natural birthing. Yeah, so just sharing that interesting moment of being a facilitator, but actually receiving so much from it. Yeah, open this space to anyone who would like to share. Or ask. Yes, Anahata.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so thank you, Flora, for your sharing, because it's so synchronistic for me and for my current process. I've been kind of diving deep into healing my own birth, which also has been quite difficult. And I was also wrapped around the cord, and my mom had a cesarean. And I came across lately very synchronistically through an amazing being called Victoria Rose, who's actually a teacher about natural birth. So if any of you are in particular called to dive into the subject of birth, maybe I will put the details of her work, her sacred work, in the chat. And she just been interviewed by someone I also find very deeply inspiring and beautiful, by a guy who actually assisted the birth of his own children. And that's how he felt called to introduce her. And there is this really amazing interview that you can hear on internet, where she talks about the importance of healing our own birth. And I just want to actually mention a few things here about that, because I found her words super inspiring, and maybe that will heal something for all of us. So the first thing she said, that our conception is our first sexual experience. So if we let that sink in, that would be quite profound to our own healing. Maybe it was certainly for me. And the fact that the luminous birth that she's talking about is actually able to heal the generations of, you know, of trauma and of everything we've been through. Because the birth is actually the most ethnogenic experience in the world. It's like way, you know, more amazing than ayahuasca or any external medicine that we can think of. It's actually super, super, super healing to be able to heal our own birth. So thank you for that share, because that's super powerful already. And just to be able to use the sound, as you said, of the womb and the organs, it's like, thank you. Thank you for doing that for the child and for the mama. So I also have some questions, because all of you girls have shared such beautiful stories of the work that you do with schools. And I'm right now in a process where I'm kind of starting to dive into how I can offer this work to the local community here and the schools here. Like, I'm from a, you know, Catholic country, so there's very certain things I can say, and I probably won't be able to speak of at schools. So maybe what I would be looking at to any help or any suggestions that you may have in how you have presented your own work and projects into the schools in particular, and how did you word the project so it feels aligned to your own cultural background, and you know how that can be a good fit for where I am at. I can of course adjust it through my own cultural lens, but any suggestions or help how that could be translated would be super, super helpful. So I think that's all I wanted to share. And of course, super touched by everything that's been shared here, and super vulnerable about, you know, the work that you are all doing. That's been already felt in the shared collective space. So thank you. And yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Maybe I can answer that. What can be really helpful is to research the space or the organization that you are interested in approaching. So I'm working with the largest Roman Catholic school in Scotland. So they have a website and they have some leaflets, which can give a sense of the culture of the school, because each school will have its own feel. So I tuned into that. I also took some time to reflect on what matters most to the school in regards to how they care for the children. You know, what concerns them. And I'm aware that they want to support children to learn. And I know that innerdance supports learning. I know that innerdance brings co-regulation by activating the branches of the nervous system. And in the culture in the UK, there's a lot of talk nowadays about regulation and co-regulation. So tuning into what's present culturally and in the community, and bringing some simple words to the inner dance process in ways that would appeal to that particular audience. So I spoke about increasing tolerance for multisensory experience. Many of the children are overstimulated and hyperactive. I spoke about the balance of rest and activity, and that the sessions support different learning styles, that we're not just reliant upon the visual field, but we're working kinesthetically and through touch, tactile, and through the auditory senses. So I'm more than happy to send you the material that I put together as maybe some ideas for you. But trust that you know how to engage with the skills. The fact that you are called to those spaces tells me you are resonating on the same frequency. Trust that you can have those conversations. It might be that you just get in touch with someone from the school and just say you have some ideas and you're curious about the types of things that they're looking for. They can give you those answers and help you. When I went to have my first sort of meeting at the school, one of the rooms I was in, they had lots of quotes on the wall about actually Einstein, and that it was mirroring back what I'd written to present. So I just, okay, we're on the same wavelength here. And what I discovered that actually by speaking people into that dreamlike inner dance state, I'm actually bringing in some concepts and some language that maybe is beyond the scope of a Roman Catholic school, because it is bringing ideas of energy and chakras and different systems of understanding, but it's being absorbed by their bodies because they're in a state of receiving. So trust yourself that you know how to speak, how to find that common language. Hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you, Caroline. Antonia?
Yes, hello everybody again. I wanted to share a little bit and respond to what Flo shared about birthing. This is something I've been very interested to, especially when I had to give birth myself, especially that my husband is also a facilitator. And the first thing I want to say is that there are different stages in the natural birth, and I won't go into all of them today, but the only thing I want to remind is that they're very similar to the 12 stages. And there's also a stage which is the opening stage when the body opens, and just before there's a very strong fear also, which is the fear of death, just because your body is literally opening and life is passing through. And also it's about contraction and expansion, and contraction and expansion. And for me, if some people here are about to hold space at this moment, perhaps that would be really the most important thing. When I prepared for my birth, I had also a fantasy about having an inner dance birth. So I had all my playlists and things, and I had an idea of the birth as being a session. And of course, it was completely different. And there's only been one song that I gave birth at a moment that I really did not expect. It was supposed to be 4 weeks later, and it was the day before the lockdown. I woke up and I say, I need to find a solution. I don't want this mess. And I gave birth a few hours later. So but a song had come a little bit before, and it only one, and it came like in a wall like this, in how to say something, like in a vortex, and it was this song and this song, and only this, and this was enough. And finally my husband slept most of the time, and it was perfect. And it was just this song, those emotions that I knew at the very moment, also that you're getting contracted or you're getting afraid, and I had it, and I lived it completely, and in a very different way than I was expecting as a facilitator or something. And it was just like yeah, for me it's like one of the most intense moments of life, in all the contradictions, emotions that you're gonna face. And it's both very similar to the inner dance, because inner dance for me is about life and about how you go through all those different stages. But the very preparation is just going through the stages, because it's another journey, and also it's another way to going through this journey. So it's really like, as we mentioned many times, how you embody the stages and really trusting and that it is already within you. And for me, this was like the real preparation, was the real facilitation of the real settings of the inner dance. Is just that this is already in ourselves, because we have been doing the process so many times as a space holder, or as a person who, there's no difference for me, as a person who is being on the mat. And as yeah, so this is just this that I want to remind, that there's so many similarities, but it's this is a space of trust. Just and this will be just my sharings about birth, that we can go on so many similarities, but it's really like this this feeling inside. So just my sharing for tonight.
Thank you. It's
Thank you for listening.
It's so nice what you share. It brought me back to one birth that I was able to be there, and there is a doula and there's a midwife, and they didn't know what I do. So it's only the birthing mama that knows me and trusts me and wants me there. But there's an acupuncturist and doula. There's a doula and many things, and there's a midwife, and then there's the husband and stuff. But I couldn't fully, the mama wants me to take her into an inner dance journey. So when I was doing it, all the other space holders, the doula and the midwives, they didn't like, because they didn't understand, they didn't know inner dance. So one of the things that I would advise for whoever would be in a birthing process is that be very, very aware of everyone that is in the room, like know everyone in the room, know the medicines, know the strength, know the weaknesses of everyone in the room, because it's such a very, very it's a life and death journey. It's like it happens in an instant, or it can be stretched into 36 hours, like what I have experienced with one of the women. And like Antonia said, it's like a wave, so much expansion and contraction. And I remember as she was sharing, there is that one moment wherein the woman was saying, like, please take me to the hospital. I can't do it anymore. And I'm just thinking now, like, that's kind of like the choice and strengthening state, you know? You want to birth it. She knows she wanted to birth at home, but she's trying to have a choice, and she's asking everyone to do the choice with her. And one of the doulas was able to relax her and calm her. And I stepped back and I switched on my facilitator mode that doesn't have to touch. So I stayed in a corner and felt like being in the room, or like watching everyone. It's like a full-on inner dance journey. And we all slept. And it's like we changed the frequency of the room. We cleaned the whole room, and we all slept and rested. And then she gave birth after that. And when the baby was kind of crowning, but it's not going out, and then I said, okay, they didn't like the inner dance sound, but you know what? I'm gonna sing now. Then I sang the earth's voice, the earth voice grandmother sound that it's like there's no choice. It pulls, it helps, it assists when you really connect to that earth sound within you, and then you co-activate with the mama to allow the earth sound through her. I was in the car with Bai one time, and I said, "Why are you so busy on your phone or in the car?" I said, "Oh, I'm guiding someone who's gonna birth soon." I said, "Okay," and he said, "I said, what are you telling her? You're driving." And he said, "It's very simple. You just have to remind the mama that she has her power, and to remind her of the power of her body." It sounds very simple, he said, but I have I know someone, the sister of my partner Andre, that she was so scared before her birth, and then she went into the inner dance journey that he did, because he's only visiting Germany all the time, and then it is a very long ride for her, but she went anyway to inner dance, because she has this, you know, like tension. And then in the journey, she received the message that you are enough, you can do it, and the fear is over now, and all those kinds of lines. And then the day after, she just gave birth, and it is really reminding the body of the mother that the body of the child knows what it's doing, that the body of the child has prepared itself for 9 months, that it has prepared itself, that the time of the baby in the womb is, for the baby, it's her lifetime, or it's his lifetime, and he's going to die. Because when we are born, we die into this new world wherein we call birth. But from the womb, wherein it's your life, you could call it your death. And yeah, so I think we can close. It's 9:39, unless anyone else have something to share. I would like to also, and if Caroline also would like to co-close with me. I think Christina is sleeping already. It's the end of the last of the second cycle, so we're gonna have 1 month to rest, but there might be pop-up calls for different types of programs, apps and stuff. I'm very happy to do a voice journey for everyone who would like to do it. Maybe I will make it a schedule according to my Dubai schedule, one Thursday maybe, but I'm going to announce it to the facilitators, and it's not obligated. Of course, whoever wants to dive deep into using the voice for the inner dance journey, and how important that is for our work as facilitators. It could be, for me, it could be before the end of July or the very beginning of August, but we'll announce it to your facilitators. But there will be other facilitators who will be sharing their wisdom and their experiences with different apps. So that's going to be exciting, and you will just be called to what you feel drawn to dive into as facilitators, but also for your journey for yourself of expansion. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, for staying up to this time, and very happy to be with you all. Caroline, would you like to say something? And anyone else would like to say anything? Last words?
It's just always a real honor to be in this space and to be so welcomed. And I'm thinking into that we're coming to the end of that second trimester, that the baby might be beginning to turn and shift and stretching a little bit and readying somewhere.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You can open. I don't know what's going on with the recording, but yeah, you can open your unmute and say bye-bye. See you in the next
you,
month or in
everyone.
any of the
Gracias,
public
gracias,
programs.
gracias. Besos.
Goodbye.
Muchas gracias.
Bye.
Bye.
Is Christina there?
I think she is, or maybe not.
The thing is, she it said like it stopped recording and then it recorded again. I hope that it's recorded the whole thing. Christina, are you awake? Maybe she's sleeping. Okay. Do you think if we leave Caroline, it will continue recording it? Because she's just.
I think.
I mean,
you should be able to stop the recording. Let me see if we can do that.
Welcome to the world of.
Hold on. Let me.
Irene, do you know? Like if we leave now, it's just gonna keep recording. Let me call Christina.
Hold on. No.
I think she's asleep.
Yeah, she must be.
I think if we leave, it will continue recording from the computer.
Probably.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
I left it open.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Hope you're feeling better, Flor. That you held beautiful space as always.
And you. Bye bye. Good night.
Take good care. Okay, good night.
Good night.